Imagine waking up and liquidating absolutely everything. You sell your house, your furniture, and your savings, turning every guilder you own into liquid capital. You spend all of it on this, a single flower bulb. It produces a bloom that lasts for 1 week and then dies. This happened in the Netherlands in 1637. These participants were the most sophisticated traders on Earth, the same people who had just invented the stock market and the world's most powerful corporation. The fact that this delusion captured the world's most financially literate population is what makes the story terrifying. This map shows how the Dutch East India Company turned Amsterdam into the world's warehouse. By 1630, half of the world's ocean trade flowed through this single port, flooding the city with silk, pepper, and gold. When a society possesses every physical necessity, wealth begins to seek out new, non-obvious ways to distinguish itself. For the Dutch merchant, the garden was a public broadcast of status. A rare tulip in a window facing the canal served as a visible proof of success to every passerby. The tulip was the perfect luxury asset because it was biologically difficult to produce. A single bulb took 7 to 12 years to grow from seed, making it impossible to mass produce or fake. The intersection of this unprecedented capital and strict biological scarcity shifted the tulip from a seasonal ornament into a high-yield financial asset. This is Carolus Clusius. He brought the first bulbs from the Ottoman Empire to Leiden University in the 1590s, introducing the flower to Dutch soil for the first time. Clusius was so protective of his collection that he refused to sell them, leading locals to break into his garden and steal the bulbs, an act of petty theft that inadvertently started the Dutch tulip trade. While most tulips were a single color, a few produced unpredictable streaks of crimson and purple. The Dutch called these broken tulips, treating each one as a unique, living masterpiece. This chart tracks the most famous variety, the Semper Augustus. By 1637, the price of a single bulb equaled that of a luxury house on the Amsterdam canals. We now know those beautiful streaks of color were actually the result of the tulip breaking virus. The virus was slowly weakening the plant, even as it created the patterns the market craved. The most sophisticated economy in the world was paying fortunes for a diseased, dying organism, mistaking a biological decline for an artistic masterpiece. The market faced a physical bottleneck. You cannot trade bulbs while they are dormant underground. This meant trading usually stopped for most of the year. To keep the money moving, the Dutch created a futures market. This allowed traders to buy and sell paper contracts, promises for bulbs that would only be delivered and planted months later. As the trade became entirely abstract, it opened to the working class. With prices multiplying 20 times in a single month, people began trading contracts for bulbs they had never actually seen. Amidst this frenzy, a merchant left a prized Semper Augustus bulb on his desk. A visiting sailor, seeing the bulb and unaware of the market, picked it up. He mistook the 2,500 guilder bulb for an onion and proceeded to eat it for breakfast, with a herring. The merchant had the sailor thrown in prison. The meal he had just consumed cost more than the entire cargo of his ship. The sailor provided a rare moment of clarity. To the traders, the bulb was a high-value financial instrument. To someone outside the market's logic, it was just a root. The correction began on February 3, 1637, in Haarlem. At a routine auction, a single lot of bulbs failed to find a buyer. The auctioneer lowered the price, but the room remained silent. Within hours, the realization that there were no more buyers at these prices ended the market's psychological momentum. The panic moved instantly through the trade. Buyers refused to honor their futures contracts, and bulb prices dropped by 90% in a matter of weeks. The Dutch legal system was paralyzed. Judges found they had no way to enforce contracts for invisible goods that had lost nearly all their perceived value before they were even delivered. This painting of monkeys trading tulips was produced by the Dutch themselves. It reflects a society coming to terms with the fact that their paper economy had completely detached from the physical reality of the flower. The Dutch traders were simply the first to experience the modern cycle of social proof and the fear of missing out. Economists still use the 1637 crash to explain modern bubbles. Whether it is digital currency or real estate, the pattern of buying into scarcity and paper promises remains the same. Throughout the crash, the flower itself remained unbothered. It continued to bloom and die on its own biological schedule, indifferent to the financial value humans had assigned to it. Over the next 4 centuries, the Dutch transitioned from speculating on the flower's value to mastering its production. By focusing on the physical cultivation and logistics shown in these fields, they secured a global monopoly that now exports 4.3 billion tulips every year. The Netherlands eventually built their economy on the reality of the tulip rather than the promise of it, turning a historical disaster into the world's most successful floral industry.